What is a cap table? Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Avishai, and today I'm going to be explaining what is a capitalization table and why is it so important for the investors of a company and the founders and the team. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Yeah.
So if you ever went on a roadshow with your startup, or you tried to invest in a startup, or you worked in a venture capital, you've heard the term cap table. Now, if you haven't done any of those, then the term cap table might sound a bit confusing. What is a cap table? A cap table is basically a table. It can be an Excel sheet or Google Sheets. And in that table, you can see who are the people who are currently comprising the company. You have usually the founders, and they usually have the original shares when the company is founded. And when you have investors in a company, they will usually be added to that sheet as they invested money and they received shares for that investment. Now, in some scenarios, there might be investors who will not appear right away in a cap table. That will happen if they did a safe round or a debt round, but that is for a different video. Now, in the cap table, you will usually also see a founding team with options, and in the cap table, you can expect to see two different types of columns, the columns with people who have shares and the columns of people who have options. Now, besides the obvious reasons of why a cap table is important, control and amount of stake in the success, a cap table is a good way to show the quality of ownership. Now, if a cap table is filled with random names that don't add much to the table and don't bring much expertise and don't bring maybe massive amounts of volumes of cash to invest in the company, then why are they on the cap table? Now, in addition to the obvious reasons of why a cap table is important, a cap table is also a way to show the strength and the health of the company's ownership. Basically kind of a quality score. Who's in this company, and if they are the right people that should be in this company. That goes for the investors, the advisors, the employees. If the cap table is comprised of high quality people and high quality institutions, then usually that will basically reflect on a high quality company. Now, private companies and startups don't really have to share their cap table with anyone. That can be very discreet and nobody needs to see it. A startup or private company can add people to the cap table without having to announce it. A public company, that's a different story. Public companies that have significant changes to their cap table will have to disclose that to the public. When the amount of stakeholders in the company changes, such a new investment partner, that's when you have to update the cap table. So let's say I'm investing in a company and I'm buying into X amount of shares. Once the investment round is complete, the cap table should be updated to reflect that I am now part of the cap table as an investor. It's important to note that there might be people on your cap table that have no connection to the company at the present time. That means that there might be former founding team members or a former co-founder, or maybe just an employee that just now bought up all his options, exercised them, and left the company. There can be scenarios where somebody may have moved on, but they're going to be staying on a cap table even though they have no connection to the company at the present time. Now, as a rule of thumb, it's not a good idea to bring a lot of small investors as shareholders to appear on a cap table. So if there are people who want to invest very small amounts of money, usually a special purpose vehicle, an SPV, is generated for a group of people who have a small amount of money and they want to invest it in a startup. So they gather that money, they put it in an SPV, and that SPV, which is basically kind of a fund that is there for those small investors to just invest in the startup. So it is kind of a fund that pools all the small investments together to write out one big check. Some SPVs are created just to invest in one company, and some SPVs are created to invest in multiple. Sometimes they're called syndicates or holding companies, but currently, as long as you get the gist of it, the semantics don't really matter at this point to understand. how to get into a cap table without actually showing on the cap table. So I know that if I'm investing through JSIM Syndicate or on AngelList, I'm not going to be appearing on the cap table. So investment vehicle is going to be investing in a startup, and they're going to be appearing on the startup's cap table, but I'm going to be only appearing on the cap table of that special purpose vehicle. I hope you found the short video about cap tables useful. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit subscribe and to hit the bell for notifications, and hit that like button for the algorithm so it can spread it between other people who are interested in the same topics. My name was Avishai. Thanks for watching. See you next time.